this is a question for Frank and also for Alan. Talk a little bit about how the film came into being, because as I said at the beginning, it's a moment in which there were almost no musicals at all being made at the studios, and certainly not with premises like this. So take us through that process a little bit.
Well, I wasn't that involved with, you know, I knew there were offers, and David Geffen, you know, was our producer, was definitely going to be producing the film. And Howard was much more hands-on, because Howard was writing the screenplay. This was before I started scoring movies. So Miles Goodman actually wrote the score, and I stepped back. The thing that we did was try to write a hit song for this, which we didn't succeed in writing a hit song. We did have a song that was nominated for an Oscar, but I think that let me pass the baton to you as far as how it happened.
I guess I had done, this was only my really second movie that I'd done. The first movie was Dark Crystal, but that was Jim's. That was Jim's movie. I helped him direct his movie. And then I did Muppets Take Manhattan. I'm only telling you not to get applause. To give you the genesis of this. And David Geffen saw Muppets Take Manhattan. I think there's some similarity, because Muppets Take Manhattan had many, many songs. It had all these puppets, and it was, you know, high energy. And so I remember he asked me through my agent, my new agent at CAA at that time, and I read it, and I said no. I don't know if you know that. I said, no, I can't do this. Because it was so wild. It was just 14 songs, and a plant that is small and that weighs a ton, and it's 13 feet tall, and all these guest stars. And I mean, how do you do this, you know? And I said no. And then weeks went by. David was surprised that no one said no to me before. and I didn't mean it to be rebellious. I just didn't have a handle on it. And I was in Toronto shooting something, and my subconscious was working, because all of a sudden I realized the key. The key were those three girls. I could bop them anywhere. And on the stage, they came in stage left, stage right, up stage. But here I could just bop them around anywhere cinematically. And that kind of opened everything up for me. So then I said yes, and then David asked me to rewrite it, because it still has stage sensibility. And he wanted me to ask Howard, and I asked Howard if he wanted to work up with me, and he said no. Because I think he said, this guy wiggles dolls and he wants to rewrite my stuff. Yeah, I'm sure he thought that, you know, Jesus. And I rewrote it. I was in London, and I wrote it. It took about a month, and then they liked it. And then it came to be.
And can you just, with a certain other, I mean, you talk about rewriting it to make it more cinematic. What were some of the sort of the challenges in taking this from the stage to the screen in terms of the structure of it, or the form of it?
Well, I think there are songs I cut out because I felt it, you know, it wasn't.
The song he sings as he's laughing himself to death.
Right.
Now it's just the gas.
Right.
Closed for renovation.
Right.
What else?
Mushnik & Son.
I'm not quite sure now why that happened, but it was certainly structured in my mind. It was all about structure. By the way, when I see you write it, I didn't touch a word of dialogue. Not a word. That was, to me, I'm not going to mess with something that was brilliant for 4 years. But what I did was I restructured everything and gave it a movie sensibility. So I didn't rewrite any dialogue whatsoever. But the look of it, I felt, you know, my opinion with musicals, one cannot be naturalistic. One has to create artifice. And so everything was done in the 007 stage. The 007 stage was the biggest stage in Europe at that time. It burned down, but they built a new one. It was called 007 because the Bond films were shot there. And so everything you see is manufactured. It's all artifice. There's nothing shot outside. And so that was important to me, to match the artifice of the feeling, because it wouldn't jive. But there's a lot of changes that were made, but essentially, you know, it was mainly structure. Mainly structure, and the opening was very important, because of the opening I had on purpose to do many things. I had to show that the geography of the place, that I had them go from Skid Row and into the shop and downstairs, and they introduced the characters that way, and I had them in the rain, and they weren't touched, so they were magical, so I had a lot of information right away. Anyway, it was mainly structure. That's what caused me to make decisions to make it like this.
So let's flash forward to this test screening of the film.
Oh, it was
or test screenings, and what happened to the film because of that.
Well, I'll try and make it short, because I mean, Kurt has done an incredible job on this. Kurt not alone, Kurt and his team, I can't tell you, has done an amazing job on this. In any case, so I don't want to talk too long. What happened was we prepped for about almost a year, huge prep. It was a huge, massive movie. You can see by it was a huge rap party. Then we shot for about 5 months, and we went to San Jose for the first preview, and the audience reacted like you guys. It was just so satisfying. You applauded they applauded after every number. They loved it. And what I didn't plan, what I didn't understand, was how much they loved Ellen and Rick. They loved these characters. And in a theater, you're always looking, as an audience member, you're looking at a wide shot. You're always looking at a wide shot. You can decide where you're going to look, but you're looking at a wide shot. In a movie, I'm telling you to look at a tight shot. You have no other place to look. So that tight shot showed the subtleties of their emotions and the feelings, and then you started falling in love with them. And also, the thing I made a mistake on also, and I learned, is that in theater, they were killed, and then they came out for a bow. Here, they were killed. They didn't come out for a bow. So, to make it short, everything was wonderful until you killed Ellen's character and Rick's character, and then it was an icebox. It was a disaster. A total disaster. So...
Is that why you invited me here?
No, they loved. You can tell how incredible she was, especially when she was dying. I mean, you know, they hated me. Hated the movie when we fed her to the planet. Hated us. As a matter of fact, okay, I said this before, and I don't want to take time away from other people, so I'll make it fast. But when one has a screening, the usual thing is to answer all these questions in cards. The main question is, would you recommend this movie to other people? You have to get a 55% recommend. You have to. No lower. We got a 13. This was an unmitigated disaster. I still have the cards.
What was amazing, though, is I was at that screening, is how quickly you and Howard were able to turn this around.
We knew, yeah, Howard and I knew what we had to do.
It was amazing.
We knew, and Howard knew the structure, and I knew what Howard was doing. You know, because I had worked with Howard, as you said, for about a year and a half, very closely. So we knew we had to have a happy ending. And I was kind of concerned here, because you're the first people who've actually seen this on the screen. No one has ever seen this except you guys. And so I was really wondering, geez, are they going to hate me too? I really didn't know.
That's why we're sitting on the side.
Anyway, so what happened was we redid the ending, as Alan said, and we went back and reshot for about 3 weeks and made it a happy ending. And I got to say, the cards shot up to like 70%. But it wasn't what Howard and I wanted to do. Now, I got to give David Geffen credit. At the very beginning, what Howard and I said, we want to have the original ending. I said, I want to stay true to what Alan and Howard did. And David said, you can't do that. You can't kill your leads. I said, we need to. So he honored us, but he knew in the beginning that this was going to happen.